Well, we are racing on Thursday the 7th at the Vaal. We're on the classic track from myself, Dees Danan, the Gallop TV team, and we'll join Alistair Cohen shortly. I trust that you're well, racing fans, and well, it is Thursday, and at the Vaal, looking at what's on offer for the punters. It's 8 races on the go, so we'll kick off with the Barpot in race number 1, and that pick 6 needs to be on by 13:40. 20-2 will be the big one. Race number 1 is at 12:30, and it's over 1,200 meters. It's a maiden plate for fillies and mares, a work riders race. At the time of recording, I don't have any scratchings. Of course, this betting proudly brought to you by World Sports Betting. Number 1, Sudden Style, is at 6-1. Number 3, which is Flying Puma, at 9-2. We got horse number 4, Past the Baton, at 5-1. 8-1 into 10, sorry, 8-1, yeah, 8-1 into 10-1 is number 5, Sunshine Day. And I see number 6 is Arctic Command at 4-1. I just want to double check this because I wrote this badly, Alistair, and I'm almost certain number 5, Sunshine Day, is 8-10. That's the price. Yep, 100%. 8-10, number 5, Sunshine Day. I've just ridden it 8 into 10-1. It looks like I've ridden it there, back the horse. But firstly, how are you doing, Ali?
Yeah, good, thanks, Dees. I was going to say I'd make a quick turn by your bookie that's offering you 8-1 on Sunshine Day in race number 1. I got the fright of my life, but yeah, all good, thanks, Dees. You know, this card at the Vaal on Thursday, although the form's been good, I think the key is probably to go through your races and eliminate horses who you don't think can win. I think that's probably the easiest way, rather than looking for horses who you think can win. I think it could be a Tony P today, but let's see if it all goes according to plan, Dees. I must be honest, I've seen the Vaal cards that appeal to me a lot more, probably trickier cards in my time, but some tricky cards appeal to me because we tend to get the dynamic of the Vaal straight, which I tend to pay extra attention to. Yeah, this card, I'll be happy if I make a profit at the end of the day, I must confess.
Okay, in the first leg of the Barpot, it's either number 5, Sunshine Day, or there is going to be a result here, because if you're dropping tickets and you miss out on the top one, you'll certainly, lose tickets, and it'll be a good result for you. Are you in the camp of, playing to beat this horse, or possibly just say banker it and get through?
I'm not going to oppose Sunshine Day, Dees.
Yeah, we just lost Alistair there. I'll just continue while the guys try to get him back. Race number 1, he's saying he's not going to be opposing number 5, Sunshine Day. So that's a Tony Peters runner who made a promising debut for the stable, finishing second behind On the Horizon. And we'll just try and get Alistair back. The horse is priced up at 8-10. And number 1, Sudden Style, I think one's for trifectas and quartets. 3, which is Flying Puma. Yeah, the form is not the worst because that second on debut was over a sprint. The 4th next time out was over a sprint. Maybe the horse is going to be looking for the extra 200 meters. I say sprint, that's over 5 furlongs. And then the value in the race could be number 6, Arctic Commander, from 11-2 into 4-1. And on the last 2 runs, I certainly think a horse that could be a danger to number 5, Sunshine Day. Alistair, are you back with us?
Yeah, back with you, Dees. Yeah, sorry, I'm keen on Sunshine Day in race number 1. The main reason, funny enough, is because there were 7 lengths between Sunshine Day and the 3rd placed horse, Ariel's Jet. On the Horizon, as I heard you mention, came out and franked that form, winning a race many divisions stronger than what Sunshine Day runs in. I've seen weaker work riders maidens, so that might get punters to think, but I don't think there's going to be too much issue here. On a track that's running fast, dropping in distance, a horse who showed pace on local debut, it's all number 5, Sunshine Day. I will be very disappointed if she doesn't win, and I think we're starting off with the best bet on the card.
Well, that is big talk and a lot of confidence from Alistair Cohen. I like that. We're getting off to a flying start with the top one, number 5, Sunshine Day. Then on to the place accumulator, which is race number 2. It's over 1,200 meters, and you need to get your bet on here by 13:05. The betting, Hollywoodbets number 2, Heart of Thieves, from 8-1 into 5-1. Number 3, Policy of Truth is at 28-10. 4 at 7 to 2, 10 at 7 to 2, and then it is double figures, the balance. Well, I pulled out this form line last night on Policy of Truth, of course, represented by number 10, Viva Spirit. And for the guys that need to know, this horse, New Mexico's come out to win again. Kate Taker's come out to win, and a subsequent winner there in Daring Act. Is that the best and strongest form line in the race and the one that we're going to follow here?
Definitely the strongest form in the race, Dees, but Policy of Truth has drawn 10 and Viva Spirit's drawn 11. Over 1,200 metres on the Vaal Classic track. No, thank you. I wouldn't be having a bet on either of them, although both of them will go into my power pot and both of them will be going into my place accumulator because they look like the right horses, but they've got to be vulnerable. There's no way that I can take the prices on those two horses, despite coming out of a strong form line. New Mexico, a good winner at Hollywoodbets Scottsville a couple of weeks ago, as you mentioned. Sure. I'm most keen in this race on number 5, Breath of Magic, dropping back to 1,200 metres. I thought his only run over this trip at Hollywoodbets Greyville was fair behind one Irish Rover. He came back to Joburg. He pushed Copper John all the way down to the line. I thought his last run was disappointing. He's better than that. I'll put it down to the fact that he didn't handle the Vaal Mile Straight, which horses either can and horses can't. Although that was a weak race and Diesel Shadow could probably not miss on paper and didn't miss, I think Breath of Magic is worth another chance going around the bend. And the only horse with form, with a good draw, I'd make that the one to watch in the opening leg of the place accumulator. Just watch the market on this Lucky Udalaka's first time at number 9, Viva Brazil. He's closely related to some good horses trained by Lucky, including obviously that horse Viva Rio, who was trained by Glenn Cotson, but the brother, the one down, has proven to be a nice horse whose name escapes me at the moment, also trained by Lucky, also runs in David Shaw's colours. So if there's a touch of support or a bit of talk about number 9, Viva Brazil, and I will be at the Vaal on Thursday, then just add him into the back of your mind. But I don't like the race, D's. The two best horses, the two right horses, are drawn badly. That's the death knell over 1,200 metres on the Vaal Classic.
Yeah, once you said that, and you ended off saying, it is the death knell, 1,200 metres. I just want to touch on the configuration because, we watch it and we got what the camera shows us. But, from the best, possibly the best view, the commentary box, I know that the 1,000 metres is at the top of the lane. The 1,200 metres, we could say, is in the middle of the first bend. 1,400 metres at the top of the first bend. And the 1,600 metres, there is a bit of ground, but very, very, let's call it the start of the bend. So 1,200 metres in the middle of that bend, Alistair. So you're starting off on a hiding to nothing.
You're going to have such good gate speed, and then you're going to have to hope that horses on your inside don't get in the way and have as much gate speed. I've seen lots of horses that have the right form, the right credentials from those bad draws over 1,200 metres, as you say, in the middle of the bend, a very, very hard place to start your race. They don't come back. But what it does give you a line for is next time they run, hopefully with more things in their favour. So if Policy of Truth and Viva Spirit, even, if they do win, then they can very easily follow up next time. But if they don't, like I expect them, well, one of them's obviously going to get beaten at least. But if they do run nice race sort of third or fourth and things are more in their favour next time out, you can follow them provided that there's no hot shot in the race.
Okay, race number 2, Alistair, suggesting that you could get a nice result for you if you're playing to beat numbers 3 and 10 in that place accumulator. Just a draw, a worry for him there. Then the pick 6, 13, 40, 20 to 2. It's over 1,800 meters. It is a maiden plate. And how they're betting? Well, number 1 is at 7 to 1. We got an even money shot here, Alistair. Number 6, House of Romanov. Number 7 is at 33 to 10. 8 is an 8 to 1 shot. And it's then double figures the balance. Well, we have to touch on this market because you made the best bet on the card. The fixed odds betting got it right there in the first race. If that's the best bet on the card, they've restricted the odds to 8 to 10. Is this the quick double, the even money shot, or here we are suggesting wider than the betting suggests for the pick 6?
Dees, I like the race and I don't like the race. I like the race because there's form to work with and they're horses who are ready to win. But I don't like the race, and then I've gone with 5 horses in the pick 6, which is my suggested bet. So just under half the field, so we don't have to go with the field. This horse, House of Romanov, was he stopping over the last 100 meters last time? How's he going to handle an extra 200? I can see him being the right horse in the race, and I can, easily justify him being the top of the boards. But an extra furlong for number 6, House of Romanov, to see off when, look, there might have been a combination of Mondial finishing off really, really well last time and House of Romanov stopping, or maybe Mondial was just finding an extra gear, whereas House of Romanov might be a little bit one-paced and be looking for this trip. I don't know, but to the eye, I'd make the extra 200 meters a little bit of a question mark. I'm tipping him on top, number 6, House of Romanov, because he's obviously coming along the right way. Second run in Joburg. There is enough to like as far as trends are concerned, but there are just simply horses here who are ready to win. Number 1, Puerto Plata, I'm of the opinion that running, he's not very good as number 1, Puerto Plata, but I still think that this could be his best chance in a while, just coming out fresh. I've got number 4, Antananarivo, even though there's a race for her coming up in about 3 weeks' time, which would be more ideal. There's more of a starting point to get her back towards her winning form. Her last run was all wrong. She'll run better than she did last time. I'd loathe to go out with her for obvious reasons, although I've put her in more out of safety than instinct. 7, Scarlet Pimpernel, also got to be a big chance here, Dees. He's banging at the door. He was beaten by a horse who's highly regarded last time, and he pulled up lame, so back 21 days later, he's obviously overcome that. And then number 8, Inner Blue Moon, like you to like us, the 2 horses, I even think Punctual's got some sort of chance, but just looking at the fact that Kamalo rides number 8, Inner Blue Moon, after riding him last time, I'd expect that that's the right one. Even though he's held by Scarlet Pimpernel, I'd also venture to say that 1800 meters will be more up Inner Blue Moon's alley than Scarlet Pimpernel, so that's why he's got it as well.
I'm glad you mentioned the distance with this horse, House of Romanov, because, when you pull out that pedigree, which I did, Naval Guard is one of the siblings, and I think 2,000 meters comfortably. Maybe it was a case of too handy last time, I don't know if it was by design that Craig Zaki found himself in front, but he gave the horse a confident ride, and one could say entitled, the way he raced that day, going over that 1,600 meter trip on the Vaal Classic track, 5 out of 10, racing up handy. Maybe it was just a case of riding him too handy, and the draw could be a plus then. 9 out of the 11 runners, maybe a more patient ride this time round.
That's not the Peter way, though. Yeah, you're right. I would, if he were mine, I'd probably hope to see him a little bit more conservative, but that's not the way they do it from the yards. So let's see who's going to come out on the right side this time. If he goes off to the front, I'd be a little bit worried. If he is ridden conservatively, then he's got more of a chance.
I'm in agreement. I'd like to see that with number 6, House of Romanov. 3 Alistair playing to beat the even money shot at the time of recording, which is number 6, House of Romanov. Then we at the halfway stage when we get to race number 4. It's at 14:15 over 2,000 meters, and this race, well, number 1 is at 9-2, 2 at 4-1, 3 Pretty in Pearls at 7-2, 4 Burmese Tiaras at 5-2, and I see that number 7 is a scratching, so we got 10 runners going to post here at the time of recording, and number 10 is at 6-1, carrying 51 kgs. I see Donald Geertsen will only claim the 1 there on number 10, Ideal Future. What are we doing here? I've put a few marks on a few horses. In fact, one of them is number 10, Ideal Future, with that low weight. But if I had to single out, one runner that I possibly would not be leaving out of the pick 6, it's going to be number 3, Pretty in Pearls. Yep, number 3, Pretty.
The reason why I've left out Pretty in Pearls, Dees, is because ran second last time and got given £13 for being a loser.
Correct.
That's a huge hike, and also I think Muzieni gets the best out of Pretty in Pearls. So, no disrespect to Pila Sunday and Ployli, who best way I describe him, the boys become a man with Pila Sunday. Muzi gets the best tune out of Pretty in Pearls. I think the handicap has got the grips on number 3, Pretty in Pearls. It's a race I don't like one bit, Dees. I've gotten 3 horses, but my next 2 on the list, one of them's your horse that you mentioned, number 10, Ideal Future, and the other one's number 2, Last Cheer. So if you are looking for alternatives, 2 and 10 could very easily be the answers. But the numbers that I've included are numbers 1, 4, and 6. Liverpool Legend is in here as well. And this is what I think of the race. Last time when Khan Judy and Burmese Tiara met,
Yeah, Alistair just saying...
over 2,600 metres. So I think dropping back to this type of distance could be the answer for number 1, Khan Judy. But again, the Boertjes horses tend to mix their form, and one beats the other week in, week out. So 1, Khan Judy is in. Number 4, Burmese Tiara, and the evidence of that last one over 2.6 has to go in because that was a commanding victory. Only got given £3 for that win, so that might well be kind. She's fit because she only ran 9 days ago. Most of these horses are fit. St. John Gray and Bar and Boertjes not messing around by running these horses often. And then number 6, Liverpool Legend, I thought caught the eye to an extent last time. Craig Zaki on board. The draw's obviously not ideal, but there's a bit of back straight. There's 600 metres to work with to get a position for number 6, Liverpool Legend. She's fairly well performed, 58 starts, but with 3 wins in heaps of places. I don't think she'll be too far away, and I think she's close to a workable mark. The 1 kilo overweight's a little bit of a worry for number 6, Liverpool Legend, but all the same, she's popping up as a horse who's not too far away from winning in my eyes.
This number 3, Pretty in Pearls, I'm glad that you touched on that rating because, as a stable, let's just use the word stable, you nominate and you run, and you know what's going to happen when you're running a horse that's way under sufferance against that type of field. I mean, there was a Fillies and Mares 81, a D division class, and, with the rating that she had of a 53, I mean, she was way under. To run second, it's expected what's going to happen because that's exactly what happened. She's got the average rating of that field, which was a 66, and she'll now carry 55.5 kgs. It's just about placing your runners. But all she needs to do is just repeat that last start. And I think, even though she's pushed up in the rating, who knows? Maybe she could just, come up 7-2 with number 3, Pretty in Pearls. But Alistair suggesting numbers 1, 4, and 6. He's got a question mark on horse number 10, and he's also, not discounting the chances of 3 up. So that is race number 4. Race number 5 is over 1,600 meters. Number 1 is at 4-1. Number 2 is at 8-1. 3 at 4-1. 5, 6 is at 6-1. We got horse number 7 at 8-1. And 9 is at 5-2, going for 3 on the bounce. And with Craig Zaki up. Yeah, this race, Alistair, if I had to, okay, let me put it this way. My Hollywoodbets Punters Challenge competition entry is number 1.
Sure, I've got 1, 3, and 4 in here, D's. I've gone with the fillies because the conditions of the race suit the fillies. Crimson Princess, nice run last time over the distance short of her best. She stayed on nicely behind Zeus, and she'll be better, stronger with that run under the belt. Muzi Yeni takes her out of top weight. So number 1, Crimson Princess, every chance. She'll be just about right to win. I know that she was purchased by Peter Moore mainly for breeding purposes, but there's no reason to send her to the paddocks while she's in this type of form. She's got every chance, number 1, Crimson Princess. Number 3, Perfect Witness, and very good hearts at home as well. She'll try her absolute best, as she always does. I think the 2 kilos that she gets from number 1, Crimson Princess, probably gives number 3, Perfect Witness, according to the best weighted column, she's top, but I think that 2 kilo swing is going to count in favour of number 3, Perfect Witness, but I have all the time in the world for number 1, Crimson Princess, and it could be shrewd from Sean Terry to put Sianda Sasibo on this horse, River Quarares, who's shown a few signs of life of late. She went horribly wrong in her late 2-year-old, early 3-year-old campaign, but she's come back to life with a rating drop, and a further rating drop, although this is not a true handicap. She gets every assistance from the conditions of the race, number 4, River Quarares. So I'm not going to let her run loose either. I spoke to Craig Zaki yesterday at Hollywoodbets Durbanville about number 8, Silent War, and he says if he repeats that last run, he won't lose. And I said, but Craig, he's gone from an MR82 at the Vaal to a middle stakes running against horses who have performed at graded level. Now I got used performed at grade 1 level. Perfect Witness is placed at grade 1 level. Crimson Princess is such a hard knocker. River Quarares has performed at grade 1 level. She's got small black type. I said, now you're in the big league, and the weights don't help you. And he says all he needs to do is repeat that last run, and he will win number 8, Silent War. I know Mini Coop quite well. I don't think you can put Mini Coop and Perfect Witness in the same sentence. So I think Silent War is going to have to improve, to be honest.
Well, we've seen it, especially seasons of late, that Sean Terry is first, let's call it 1.5 months, maybe some will say 2 months of the first season, of the new season. It's all a matter of planning and getting the horses ready. We know that there's ASH vaccinations, etc., that needs to be done, but he's had a very slow start into the first month of the new season, Alistair.
Sean is traditionally a slow starter. The best analogy that Sean gave me a couple of years ago, I think he had just won the championship a couple of years ago, and the first 2 months of the season were absolutely dire. And I got hold of Sean. I said, Sean, what's going on? He said, and like I said, you'll relate to this. He said, this is like being at the roulette table, and you're just watching for now, and you're waiting for the right moment to start putting the money down.
Yeah, I think so. Watching that board and trying to pick your spots. As Mike will say, when we're on the golf course, it's the hare and the tortoise. That is how he describes it when you're behind on points. So that is it. Okay, we'll see what happens here in race number 5. But Alistair's given you some numbers, I think namely numbers 1, 3, and 4. But he gave a big shout out to number 8, Silent War, as well. On to the 6th race. Now, this race, I promise you, if you look at my book, while I've got some notes here, I've just written field, pick 6, because I don't want to try and narrow it down. You know my rule, Alistair, and I couldn't narrow this down to 5 horses. Number 1, Bloomington at 9-2. Number 3 at 8-1. 4 at 9-2. 5 at 7-1. Number 7 is at 6-1. 8 at 33-10. Hollywoodbets, number 10. Ryan's Dream is shortened from 12-1 into 8-1, the Mount of Muzieni. What's your thinking? I'm suggesting the field here and the pick 6.
I'll suggest, I've got 3 horses here, Dees, but I'm very, very keen on one of them, and that's Archimedes, number 5 on the card. Just something that I probably should have mentioned at the top of the show. And I know we didn't finish the meeting on Tuesday at Hollywoodbets Durbanville, but if that bar pot pool that we saw on Tuesday at Hollywoodbets Durbanville is anything to go by, I'd expect the pools at this Vaal Classic meeting to be above average. Maybe that's also shortchanging it, but maybe better than above average, because there were big numbers on that Tuesday card at Hollywoodbets Durbanville. Sadly, we didn't get to halfway, but all the same, I think there'll be a few punters who look at this card and say, look, it's not easy, but if we catch something, if we show a profit at the end, we're going to do very, very well here. So this is the type of race where you can gain a little bit of ground, and Archimedes is my top choice. He was very badly weighted last time in a graduation plate. He was the worst weighted horse on the race. He beat Now I Got You. He's got a legitimate chance a race earlier. He ran him into the ground from start to finish on a quick track. That's obviously a good benefit. Now he's got to see out an extra 200 meters, yes, but I think he's got a good chance at this level of doing so. According to the conditions of the race, he couldn't get punished more than 6 pounds. So if you do the maths, if Now I Got You, a race earlier, is a 95... he ran off a 91 on that occasion. Archimedes was a 72. What's that? 19 pounds, received all that weight. I think Archimedes is one step above the handicapper. So I'm keen on number 5, Archimedes. I wouldn't go broke on him. He's my each-way play in the race. Hopefully he shows a little bit of value come race time. Because of the value extinguishers, we might have to look for a different bet. Might end up being a swinger or trifecta with the following horses. Number 1, Bloomington, who won a good race last time. He's always been best on the inside track. There are lots of races on the inside track for the next 6 weeks because the standside track's being scarified. So number 1, Bloomington, on the back of that last one, winning on the classic track with his confidence up. I'd loathe to go out with him winning. And then number 4, Rain or Shine. He can do anything. We've spoken about Rain or Shine plenty times on the show. With him, it's very much bust. It's win or bust. Last time was a win. Chase Morjan takes over. Got an awkward draw to overcome, number 4, Rain or Shine. But I still think that if he feels right on the day, he's got every chance of showing up as well. So I've narrowed it down to 3 horses. That might be silly of me, but I'm most keen here on Archimedes.
I wish I could be having a conversation with Alistair about the rating of Archimedes. Look at my book. That's it. The one page in the entire book, I'm holding this up, Alistair. It's actually blank on one side. It's actually blank on one side, but I just left it. It's actually blank where all the ratings are and everything. So, whilst I hear you about the rating hike to a 78, I think you mentioned, the maximum points, etc. That could be a nice find there. 5, Archimedes, that's in race number 6. Well, Alistair brought up a really nice point about the pools on Tuesday. And personally, it just shows one day off from the entire country not playing horses after a big weekend, Saturday and Sunday, that you got racing, all around the globe that people are following. Those that don't follow it on a daily basis, they spoil for choice when it comes to the betting menu. But more importantly, you have that Monday off, and it just shows what happened on that Tuesday. Race number 7, 1,000 meters, merit-weighted 80 handicap. How are they betting here? Number 1 is at 4-1, 2 at 4-1, 3 is at 5-1, 4 at 9-2, 6 at 7-1. And then I'm going to say all in here with this horse, Alistair. It's not often. In fact, the percentage will be very low when I do go for a horse straight out the maidens. But this is a horse that caught my eye, grabbed my attention, however you want to put it. I like the look of this horse, Alistair. Horse number 8 with Muzi Yeni up. And I'm going to state here now that this 3-year-old at an 84, we often have a look at ratings of horses that, especially those that have, campaigned in the feature races as youngsters, and come out and they got a high rating. Well, this horse, I'm going to state here that an 84 could be generous for him.
It could very well be the case, D, similar to On the Horizon, who of course won straight out the maidens on Saturday, although On the Horizon was even better teed up, only being a 70-something and a 4-year-old. But War Queen is a bit of a tear away, but at the moment, while the track's running the way that it is, then there's a lot in this daughter of Active War's favour, I believe. The mother was also as quick as grease lightning. I like the last one. I like the fact that she comes in here off bottom weight. Lucky Hoodalakis' horses grow an extra leg at the Vaal. That's his home territory. And the other case with all these other horses, D's, I think they might pretty much be in their place. The only other horse I've gone in with in the pick 6 is number 2, Siberian Steel, for a number of reasons. Dropping back to 1,000 meters he's probably best over this trip. On collateral form, the run on the 5th of August, Siberian Steel might have finished behind Successful Secret, Axel Collins, and just in front of COVID Operator, but the handicap has been kind to Siberian Steel. He's got half a kilo less, whereas those horses in front of him have got much more weight to carry, and the horse behind him's also got more weight to carry, COVID Operator. So I think number 2, Siberian Steel's just about in the right place to run a good race. But my top choice here is definitely number 8, War Queen. She's got any amounts of improvement to come. Yeah, she takes on majority boys, but I think she could be up to it. And just to add to that, Lucky Hoodalakis was absolutely sick that she got beaten first time out. Probably just went astride too early to Bongani Melangeni, who's done so many favours for Lucky in the past. Lucky's not scared to run a debutant in a work riders race and put the money down. And Bongani Melangeni is his right-hand man. But that was the one side of, I don't know how many times that Lucky wasn't too pleased. So, 2 and 8 for me in the penultimate, with number 8, War Queen, my top choice.
War Queen, top choice, 2 and 8, some cover there if you're looking for horse number 8. Then we close things off at 16.25, all things being equal. At the Vaal, we'll be on the classic track. It's over 1,000 meters, merit-weighted 68 handicap. This is an E-division class. Number 1 is at 4-1, 2 is at 33-10, and then we have number 3 at 3-1, number 4 at 4-1, 5 is at 6-1 into 5-1. That is the short now on Hollywoodbets. Number 6 at 9-2, 8 at 9-2, and then it is double figures, the balance. Yeah, this race, Alistair, I'm very happy, if I'm going with the banker and you've managed to shorten it down just to 2 runners in the previous race, which helps reduce the cost of the perm. I'm very happy if you play it wide here, regardless of the result, because the betting does tell the story.
Yeah, I've got 3 horses in this leg of the pick 60s, and I must be honest, I don't know why. My line of thinking when I looked at this race, and I could have easily gone field because I've kept it probably narrower than many would have expected in the first 5 legs, was rather make an idiot of yourself for 3 horses than with the entire field. I think you could put a line through quite a few here, D's, to be honest. Number 5 in the ether, 6 Dark Tide, and 11 Smelting are my 3 horses. I've probably left it a bit too short than that. Probably horses like Brosnan needs to go, and Stormy choice. There was another one that I just saw, Red Carpet Girl as well. I suppose also needs a little bit of respect. 13 Mandalay, for what it's worth, was my next selection. So if I did go 4 horses, it would have been Mandalay. But the more I look at this race, the more I like number 6, Dark Tide. Gavin Arena takes a ride, drawn towards the outside down the straight on the Vaal Classic track. That's perceived to be the right place to be. Ran nicely to Tuscan Gold, who got away at the right time last time out. And also, the start that Dark Tide got, I think, put paid to any chances, because he does come out with good speed, and last time getting buffeted at the start, he had to take his medicine, race at the back of the field and make up whatever ground he could. So I think less is going to go wrong for number 6, Dark Tide. So he's my top selection here. Even though he's nowhere near the once 88 that he was, and will never get back to that rating, being the age that he is and the company that he's running in, still I think number 6, Dark Tide, is still a little bit better than his current rating of 63. So more in his favour than anyone else in this race. I like number 5 in the Ether's last run, when returning from a layoff, finishing 4th to Mia Regina when staying on very strongly. Also drawn towards the outside, so number 5 in the Ether, I think, has got every chance. And then if you like in the Ether, you got to like number 11, Smelting, to an extent. There wasn't too much to choose between them according to the weights, and yes, by virtue of an apprentice allowance, Smelting's got the edge over in the Ether. Red Carpet Girl, funny enough, has got the edge over both of them on pure black and white, having finished second. But I'm getting a little bit short of patience with Red Carpet Girl. It's been over a year since she last won, so I can see her running well, but probably the customary so close yet so far. So number 11, Smelting, is the horse at a bit of a price. I'm hoping can at least get into the shake-up and maybe make trifectas and quartets pay. But it is one of those races where, by default, the trifecta and quartet's going to pay, because you are going to get a horse at a big price sneaking into the money.
This form update on number 2, Stormy Choice, third, 1.8 lengths behind Golden Sickle. That was a competitive field, wasn't it?
I called that race, D's. I like the run from number 2, Stormy Choice. She showed good pace, but I'm a little bit worried about the amount of weight that she's carrying. She's carrying 60 kilos, being a filly, taking on a few boys as well. To me, it just goes a little bit against the grain for number 2, Stormy Choice.
Okay, let's go through the suggested bet, Alistair, which you mentioned was a pick 6.
Yep, so the pick 6 begins in the third race on the card at 1340D. So my numbers in the first leg, 1, 4, 6, 7, and 8. So Puerto Plata, Antananarivo, 6 House of Romanov, 7 Scarlet Pimpernel, and 8 In a Blue Moon. By 1, 4, and 6, Kind Judy, Burmese Tiara, and Liverpool Legend. If you're looking for alternatives, 2 and 10 could very well be the horses to have a look at. By 1, 3, and 4, I've gone with the fillies in race 5. So Crimson Princess, Perfect Witness, and River Querrar Res. Then in the fourth leg of the pick 6, 1, 4, and 5, Archimedes probably going to be my play of the day, along with the horse in the first race, Sunshine Day. So I might take a win place double with Sunshine Day onto Archimedes, and also a win double. But Bloomington Rain or Shine, my backup there. Then in the penultimate leg, 2 and 8, Siberian Steel and War Queen. And then the final leg, the final race on the card at 25 past 4. 6 and 11 for me. So in the Ether, Dark Tide and Smelting.
Well, I just worked out that perm. It's 510 Rand if you want to take the full percentage, or 51 Rand if you want to take 10%. And then, as I mentioned to Alistair, I like the look of that horse called War Queen. That comes up in race number 7. If you want to take a chance and possibly banker that, then you could, divide that perm by 2. And then what it'll cost you, 255 Rand. And that is a wrap of our show. But wow, Alistair, are we looking for sport now coming up? We got some exciting times coming up this weekend.
Well, there's no Premier League this weekend, but that's been replaced by the start of the Rugby World Cup. I'm looking forward to. Whether you watch rugby a lot or not, I'm sure there are going to be plenty that are tuned in. Obviously, we got that very important opening game on, is it Sunday against Scotland? That could be a potential banana skin. 6 weeks ago, before the Springboks kicked a ball this season, D's, I thought we were going to be very, very hard to beat in the World Cup. Maybe to use a racing analogy, maybe we haven't shown our hand, maybe we kind of pulled ourselves up and waiting for the games that matter, because our preparation games weren't the most inspiring until we played New Zealand in that warm-up game. But leading up to that in the Rugby Championship, we were nowhere. So I'm still going to give South Africa the benefit of the doubt. I mean, France are France. They're going to knock someone over and then probably lose to a Tonga. Ireland are so reliant on one player. New Zealand probably don't have the aura that they had of years ago. I think Argentina may be good value to get to the final, certainly semi-finals with the way that draw's worked out. So I'm having a good look at Argentina to go deep into the World Cup. Not that I think they can win, but all that's this weekend. So no Premier League, but we're lucky, sports fans.
Yeah, and I must say now, just the build-up and the coverage and the documentaries that are going on, it's just something that you have to get excited. The one that I really enjoyed, I don't know if you watched it, Alistair, where it was Sia, Francois, and John, picking out stuff from a box that they had in front of them and what it reminded them of. Did you watch that one?
I haven't seen that actually, Deez. I see it's been on a few times, but all my travels I've actually catch up on. For example, MasterChef Australia, many episodes behind, but I'll get there eventually.
Yeah, that's a must watch. If I have to say there's a must watch something before the World Cup, it's just the stories that these captains have to say and what these these objects reminded them of, and just their stories and the hardships and everything. It's absolutely brilliant. But we wish our boys well in the green and gold. Of course, it will be something, wouldn't it, for Sia to lift that trophy for the second time. And of course, now matching New Zealand, winning 3 Rugby World Cups. Could it be a fought for us? Alistair, as always, it's an absolute pleasure, and all the best at the Vaal. You got me a bit excited about this card now that I've chatted to you.
I think I've talked myself into it as well. No, thank you so much, Deez. Always a pleasure. Great catching up, and looking forward to seeing you again soon.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure chatting to Alistair Cohen on behalf of the Gallop TV team. Alistair Cohen, you have a blast. Hopefully it turns out to be a profitable day for you at the Vaal on this Thursday, where we race at the classic track, or on the classic track. And from myself, Deez Danan, until we meet again, you take care. Salani Gasle.